Don't leave the stage. We have left the stage. They're not coming back.
They're not coming back, ever. Ever. Never, never, never. Never, ever, ever. Let me do this. That'll work. That'll be fine.
Do you know what this stroke is?
No, but about certainly not what you said.
Yeah. Hard to find benefit to it, other than okay. One person. technically embroidered. Jason stuff technically embroidered. Don't need to choose it. Babysitting service. Go to the end. Go to the floor. The favorite place usually is the food. So your next favorite place is food. Excuse me. Where do you want to sit in? Probably empty. Common for the consolidation. And you're probably something.
No, I don't want to break the camera. Put it back again.
No, just, yeah. So I see you poured the wine. I've got other glasses for me.
Well, I wasn't sure what that was for.
Yes,
So I let
that's
them
for,
alone.
that's for me, but I'll pour it when because you like to cover it up and keep it.
Well, you're supposed to cover it.
Okay.
I mean, we have another cover.
No, it's
No, we
okay.
do.
I can wait.
Here.
I've never heard that.
You're not supposed to have not using it or talking about it.
I've never heard that.
Well, now you
learn something new all the time, Rabbi, you know?
That's why I went to rabbi school.
That's why I didn't.
I know. So they'll do you'll do everything from here.
Yeah, and I'll
The
tell
bar
them.
tower, he's gonna do from here.
I'll tell them everything. I'll have them do everything.
I'm gonna sit down there.
Be my guest.
If everybody would take their seats, it's almost 8 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Friday, March 17th, our evening Friday night service here at Temple Ner Tamid of Peabody. This is the Men's Club Shabbat. The men will be participating in the service and doing all the parts in the service. Gentlemen, if you're participating, please anticipate your part so that you can come up and we can get things flowing fairly easily. Everybody will take their part from the lower shulchan, please. So, having said that, it's my pleasure to call up a rabbi who will do Nigun, and then good and wealthy.
The official Nigun to get us started. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la ya la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 la. 2, 3, 4. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. 2, 3, 4. Bim bum bim 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 bum bim 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 bum 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 bim bum bim 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 bum bim 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 bum. Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 shalom. Come on, with the hey. Shabbat, shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat, shalom. Shabbat, 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 shalom. Shabbat, 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 shalom. Shabbat, 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 shalom. Shabbat, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Hey, all right, we're not going to move the camera tonight because it's in a sweet spot. We don't want to move it. So for those of you at home, you're not going to get a chance to see the people with the good news, but you'll hear them. So you know the rule. You say your name, your good news. Anybody have any? Excuse me, over here. Say your name, please, Mark, and yeah, say your name.
My name is Mark Lebarski. And my good news is after 2 weeks of being housebound, I finally got to go back to work. I was cleared to go back.
It's very good news. You were housebroken, huh? Good.
Take it. I'm Jody Malatsky, and the Malatsky household's got a new golden puppy.
What's the name? Raffy. Raffy, oh, nice. Plays third base. Cool. Not that one. Anybody else with good news? Okay, pass this down.
It's Wendy Gerschlack, and it's puppy time for our family. Not us, but my son's getting a Bernedoodle tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to have to start doing the kosher dog food on Passover. We'll have a lesson next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, right? Anyone else with good news? That's during the Minyan. Anyone else with good news? Yeah, we got Jerry, that gentleman over there. Hold on a second. Boo, 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 boo. Just give me a minute. It takes me an hour to get over there. Don't look at me with that face there, Steve Ring. Yes, Jerry, tell us your name.
Jerry Litkowski. I'm from Congregation Ahavas Achim in Newburyport, but I have some good news, and I got it today. And I've been waiting for a gathering to tell it. My granddaughter, Kaylee, the youngest in the family, has just been accepted to 4 university and colleges. And now she's got a choice to make from Maine all the way down to Connecticut. So, hey, see what goes.
Congrats, unless she wants to go to all 4 of them, right? Why not? She could commute. Anyone else? Good news, good news, good news. Okay. Well, you know what, Richard? The good news is I get to go sit down over there and watch you guys do all the work tonight. So take it away. Shabbat
That's our
shalom.
pleasure. That's our pleasure. You deserve a break tonight. So we'll begin the service. Howard Taub is going to come up to the Shulchan, and he's going to lead us in the responsive reading of Spirit of Shabbat, which you will find on the passed out sheets. Hopefully you got it.
The spirit of Shabbat. Shabbat has come with its embrace of peace, with angels of peace, with healing and hope.
Bless, O Lord, as we worship together. Help us share the Shabbat in you.
We thank you, O God, for the strength to work. We thank you also for the gift of rest.
We thank you for the gift of Shabbat, a reminder of our liberation from Egyptian bondage.
May this Shabbat bring us liberation from care and worry, from anxiety and fear.
May it break the chains which enslave us, keeping us in bondage to worldly habits.
May this Shabbat help us free ourselves from petty thoughts, harsh words, and mean acts.
May it inspire us to work for the liberation of all men from poverty and ignorance, violence and hatred.
May this Shabbat lead us to enlist in your service, to obey your commandments, to live by your laws.
So that every day may be blessed with your peace, in the spirit of Shabbat.
Amen.
Thank you, Howard. Next, we're going to have Larry Malatsky, who's going to lead us in Shalom Aleichem, which is found on page 13. Join with him.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Bachuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, kadosh baruch hu.
Thank you, Larry. Now again, Howard's going to come up on page 13 on the left-hand side. Join Howard in the English reading.
The sun in the treetops no longer is seen. Come, let us welcome Shabbat, the true Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her God angels of peace and of rest. Come now, dear Queen, with us abide. Come now, Shabbat, bride. Shalom Aleichem, angels of peace.
Thank you again, Howard. Now it's Sidney Zimmerman, who will come up on page 14 and lead us in Yedid Nefesh.
Yedid nefesh shav rachaman mishol chavta eretzonach yarutz avta kemo ayo yishtachaveh el mul hadarach yerav lo yedidutav Minofetsu b'kol ta'am. Yarai rai rai rai, yarai rai rai, yarai rai 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 rai, yarai rai rai rai, yarai rai rai rai, yarai rai rai rai, yarai rai rai, yarai rai rai,
Thank you, Sidney. And Gary Colton's going to come up, and he is going to lead us in the English reading on the bottom of page 14, the Shabbat prayer. And again, join with Gary.
A Shabbat prayer. Dear God, help us now to make this a new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate. to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat.
Thank you, Gary. Now we turn to page 15, and Alan Toulousky will lead us in Lechu Neranenah.
Lechu neranenah, lechu neranenah, lechu lera Adonai. Lechu neranenah, lechu lera Adonai. Naria, litzo yishenu, nikadma fana bitoda. Naria, litzo yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranenah, lechu lera Adonai. Lechu neranenah, lechu lera Adonai.
We pray individually to the bottom, and then Alan will finish it off.
It's Kihu Elohim. I'll take Shu Elohim. Aber im shana akut bedor v'ma amto elef heim v'hem lo yadu derachai asher nishbati v'api im yivaun el menuchati.
Thank you, Alan. Now we're going to call upon Mark Rudin, who will come up and lead us in the responsive reading of Psalm 96, found on page 16.
Sing a new song to Adonai, acclaim Adonai, all people on earth. For Adonai is great, deserving of praise. Adonai aims to be revered as God. Majesty and might accompany God. Splendor and strength adorn God's sanctuary. Worship Adonai in resplendent reverence. Let the earth tremble in God's presence. Let the heavens rejoice, let the earth be glad, let the sea and all it contains exult.
Thank you, Mark. Livnei Adonai kivo yishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim b'yamunato. And now we go to page 20, Mizmor LeDavid, and again, Sid Zimmerman is going to lead us. Please rise.
Mizmor LeDavid, Hovu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Hovu l'Adonai kevod tzva'ot, Hovu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadras kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, Kol ha'riyim yirim, Mayim Rabim, Kol Adonai B'koach, Kol Adonai B'hadar, Kol Adonai B'arazim, Adonai Etzar Halvanon, Hayakidem Ke'oegel, Banon v'Sirion ben Re'emim, Kol Adonai Ozev Lavosesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Kol Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yechol Elayalos, Vayechesof Ye'arot, Uvei Ikalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamavul yashav vayeshev Adonai melech leolam. Adonai ol yamo yitein Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Thank you, Sidney. And now Joe Westerman's going to come up and he's going to lead us in Lecha Dodi, which is found on page 21.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Shamor v'zakor b'dibor echad Hayish b'yanu el mimukad Adonai echad u'shmor echad L'shem u'tiferet lehi kila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat mikavela Mikadesh melech Yirah Humiseri mitoket hakafafa Rav lakad ba'inekava V'hu yachlo al yahayik mehamelech Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikavela Itori Ki ba'orek kumi Ori Shir Daberi Kivod Adonai Al Hayyigila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nikavela V'yahu Lishimsha Sisiraya V'yahu Kol Havolayek Yasi Salayek Elohayek Kim Satos Katan Al Kala Lecha Dodi Krat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nikavela Boi Bashalom Aterev Alaya Gam B'Simcha Usakahala Tov Emunei Al Gusigala Boi Kala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nikavela.
You may be seated. Jerry will come on up. Jerry Lisowski will come on up and he will lead us in the responsive reading of Psalm 92, found on page 23.
A song for Shabbat. It's good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
To affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
Vast your words, Adonai, your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I've sung the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attacks.
The righteous shall flourish like a palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God.
They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant to proclaim Adonai and discuss my king. Now Jerry will lead us in Sati Kadama, 4 lines from the bottom on page 23 in the Hebrew.
Sati Kadama Yirach Ke'esh Bamanon Elohos Eloheinu Yafrichu Olinu B'Se'eham Yeshenim Ramanim Yeyu Lehagi Ki Yashar Adonai Suri Velo Avatar.
Thank you, Jerry. Mark Rudin will now come up, and on page 24, he will lead us in the Psalm 93 responsive reading.
Adonai is sovereign, crowned with splendor. Adonai reigns, robed in strength.
You set the earth on a sure foundation, a word firm.
Your kingdom stands from earliest time. You are eternal.
Rivers may rise.
Yet above the crash of the sea and its mighty breakers is Adonai our God, supreme.
Your decrees, Adonai, never fail. Holiness befits your house free. Thank you, Mark. And now in the bottom of page 24, those observing Yotzar in mourning, please rise for the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Kedal, V'yit Kedash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yomad Divra Kirute, V'yamlich Malkute, V'chaye Kon, Uv'yome Kon, Uv'chaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agalav V'zman Koriv V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach V'olam Umei Omaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Po'ar V'yit Ramam V'yit Naseh V'yit Adar V'yit Alev V'yit Alol Shemei Dekudashah Brihu La'elam in Kol Birchata V'shirata Tush B'chata V'nechamata Da'amiran V'yalma V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yamru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yamru Amen. Now we turn to page 28 and we all rise as Alan Toulousky will lead us in the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu.
ומעביר יום ולילה, ומבדיל בין יום ולילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
Thank you, Alan. And now on page 28, Joe Westerman will lead us in the English Praised Are You. Please join him.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, who rules the universe. Your word bringing the evening dusk. You open with wisdom the gates of dawn, design the day with wondrous skill, set out the succession of seasons, and arrange the stars in the sky according to your will, Adonai Tzvaot. You create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal God, your sovereignty shall forever embrace us. Praise to you, Adonai, for each evening's dusk, at the square 4 lines from the bottom. Umavir yon, umevi laila, umavil yon, uvein laila Adonai Tzvaot Shmo, el chai v'chayim atemid yinlok aleinu le'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai hamaraviv aravim.
Amen. Thank you, Joe. Page 29, Avat Olam. Mark Gerschlach. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Atah Torah to mitzvot, hikim mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, v'shvachenu u'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nishchak b'divrei Toratecha,
ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נדם יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תמיד ממנו לעולמים. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Thank you, Mark. Alan Toulousky will lead us in the Shema. He will lead us in the Shema, then we will read the Haftarah, and then we'll finish up. Huh? You're doing the Haftarah also, yes, and
Okay.
yeah, you're doing that, and then after you'll finish at the bottom, and then Jim will turn, when we get to the next page, Jim will lead us in the Vayomer.
Okay. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'havta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chal levavecha, v'chal nafshecha, v'chal meodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibata bam, v'shivtecha v'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shakvecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshatam le'od al yadecha, v'hayu l'totovot bein einecha, u'sabtam al mizuzot beitecha, u'v'hisharecha.
V'hayu yishmorim. Sharon. To the bottom last part.
I will. Oh, yes, I will do that. L'man yibu yimechem v'mei v'nechem al hadama asher nishba Adonai lavotechem latei lahem k'mei hashamayim al haaretz.
Thank you very much, Alan. You do a pretty good job for somebody. And now we turn to page 31, and Jim will lead us in the Vayomer. Please join him.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amaka, Aleihem ve'asu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei vigdehem ledorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit hakara b'tio. Atichelet v'Adonai lechem l'tzitzit ufikelet v'hayituru acharei l'vavchem v'acharei eineihem asher atem yonim achareihem Zonim aharehet v'mayan v'totai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher teihem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'om lahem Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Thank you, Jim, very much. Okay, on page 32, we pray individually until we get to the box. Emet Kihu Adonai Eloheinu.
Umalchuto bratzon kiblu aleihem, Moshe v'nei Yisrael l'chana shira b'simcha rabba, v'yamru chulam, mi chamocha bo'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh, norati lo osef elem, malchut charubonecha bokei yom lifnei Moshe ze'elianu v'yamru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'em v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov u'galo miad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai go'al Yisrael. And Gary Colton will come up, and so we turn to page 33. He will lead us in the English reading on the top of page 33. Join with him.
Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Thank you, Gary. Ushmot zeitenu uvoenu l'chaim l'shalom mi'atah v'yad olam ufros olenu sukat shalomecha baruch atah Adonai haparei sukat shalom olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We rise as we turn to page 34, and Larry Molatsky will lead us in Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, l'doratam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, l'doratam berit olam. B'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael, odi le'olam, odi le'olam, odi le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'doratam berit olam. Ki sheshe yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim v'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'doratam berit olam. Uvyom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'doratam berit olam.
Thank you. Jerry, come on up. He's going to lead us in the Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash Shemei V'avo.
Amen.
V'yomadi bra kirusei v'yamlich malchusei v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayedechon beis Yisrael v'agava v'izman korid yimeru. Amen. Yeshmei Abba mevorach le'olam olam le'olam yitvorach yitvorach v'yishtabach V'yisrael Yisrael Yisnaseh, v'yisadam, v'yisaveh, v'yisavah, Shemei Kusha, Rehu, Ve'elah, Mikol, Bechasa, V'shirasa, Tush Bechasa, V'nechemasa, Damiram B'yoma, V'yimeru, Amen.
Thank you, Jerry. Silent meter, pages 35A or 35B through 38. Time for the prayers in the book, the English prayers, personal meditations. When you have completed the Amida, please be seated. Now I'm going to have Mark Rudin come up, and he will lead us in the English reading on page 38, the middle of the page. My God.
My God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from lies. Help me ignore those who would slander me. Let me be humble before all. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. Frustrate the designs of those who plot evil against me. Make nothing of their schemes. Act for the sake of your compassion, your power, your wholeness, and your Torah. Answer my prayer for the deliverance of your people. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my redeemer.
Thank you. Russell's going to come up and lead us in Oseh Shalom. Thank you, Mark.
Oseh Shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru.
Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to have Rabbi Perlman step forward and do the prayer for healing for those people who aren't feeling quite so well.
When I stop, you may say the name or names of people who you are praying for on your personal list. Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah, Yivarech Virafei Et. Kol HaCholim B'Kehila Kadosha HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lahachazikam ולפרותם וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים פרוט הנפש פרוט הגוף ותוך שייך ישראל שבתים ולזעוק וכל קרבו לבוא השתה בלגו זמן קריב ונאמר amen. May God bring blessing and healing to all the folks that you've just mentioned, all of those who are on our personal lists and on our congregational lists, and those who suffer illness within the congregational family, those that we know of and those that we may not know of. May the Holy One, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, physically restore them to health and to vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with people everywhere who may be ill. Mi shebeirach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu Mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. Now again, Roscoe Grossman will lead us on page 47. Please rise. Join with him.
ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ.
You may be seated.
מגן אבות בדברו, מחיי מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קדשו, כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ברב ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, בין הברכות אל ההודעות. אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה ויעמד שני עונג. זכר למעשה בראשית.
Page 48.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה בנמוכתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בשועתך, v'taher libeinu le'avdecha be'emet v'chanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu be'ava uvratzon Shabakadeshecha ve'anu v'Yisrael mekadeshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Normally, I'd not say it's time to pass out the wine, but these guys know what they're doing. They jumped right into it. So Russell will continue with the Kaddish Shalem.
I just want to say briefly, there's a tune for this that I really like that we normally sing on the high holidays, but I don't have any opportunity to do it, so I hope you guys will sing along with me. Yitkada v'yikada shemei rabba Be'alma devarachirute v'yamalich malchute B'chayechon u'v'yomechon U'v'chayedech beit Yisrael B'gala u'v'zman kariv V'yimeru Amen Yehi shmei rabba mevarach Le'olam u'yomei maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yithalel v'yithalal Shemei dekudesha Le'ela minachol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma V'yimeru תתקבל סלוטון ובעודכון לכל בית ישראל, קדם אבכון דבשמיא ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו, Amen. Ose shalom b'mromav, uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
Thank you. Jim Norcross will now come up and he'll lead us in the Kiddush for Shabbat. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho v'yava uratzon kinhanu Zikaron l'maseh v'reishi ki hu yom tehilah l'mikra'ei kodesh zeker l'yetziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'aharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol Shabbat Kodshcha Yavaratzon Hinaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh
Please be seated. Now my pleasure to have Jim Norcross, the Men's Club president, give the evening Devar Torah.
Well, actually, Mr. We're going to step back probably a couple of months. Oh, the mic? Oh, closer? How's that? Is that better? Oh, yeah. Too much? Okay. I happened upon a covenant and conversation with Jonathan Sachs, and it happens that it's great dovetails with what's going on tonight. Okay, so let's get. And in the end, I've got a comment by a woman whose book I am reading, and it's also very, very relevant. Free will, use it or lose it. In Parshat Va'era, we read for the first time not of Pharaoh hardening his heart, but of God doing so. I will harden Pharaoh's heart, said God to Moses, and multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. And so indeed we find in the 6th plague, boils, the 8th, locusts, and the 10th, the firstborn. In each case, the hardening is attributed to God. Hence, the problem that troubled the sages and later commentators, if God was the cause and Pharaoh merely his passive vehicle, what was his sin? He had no choice, therefore no responsibility, and therefore no culpability. The commentators give a broad range of answers. 1, Pharaoh's loss of free will during the last 5 plagues was a punishment for his obstinacy in the first 5, where he acted freely. 2, the relevant verb, chizek, does not mean to harden, but to strengthen. God was not taking away Pharaoh's free will, but to the contrary, preserving it in the face of the overwhelming disasters that were hitting Egypt. God, number 3, God is a partner in all human action, but we only usually attribute an act to God if it seems inexplicable in ordinary human terms. Pharaoh acted freely throughout, but it was only during the last 5 plagues that his behavior was so strange that it was attributed to God. Note how reluctant the commentators were to take the text at face value. Rightly so, because free will is one of the fundamental beliefs of Judaism. Maimonides explains why. If we had no free will, there would be, he says, no point to the commands and prohibitions, since we would behave as we were predestined to. Regardless of what the law is, nor would there be any justice in reward or punishment, since neither the righteous nor the wrongdoer is free to be other than what they are. So, the problem is an ancient one, but has become much more salient in modern times because of the sheer accumulation of challenges to the belief in human freedom. Marx said history is formed by the play of economic forces. Freud argued that we are what we are because of unconscious drives. Neo-Darwinians say that however we rationalize our behavior, we do what we do because people who behaved this way in the past survived to hand on their genes to future generations. Most recently, neuroscientists have shown using MRI scans that in some cases, our brain registers a decision up to 7 seconds before we are consciously aware of it. All of this is interesting and important, but contemporary secularists usually fail to see what the ancient sages knew, that if we genuinely lack free will, our entire sense of what it is to be human will crumble into dust. There is a glaring contradiction at the heart of our culture. On the one hand, secularists believe that nothing should constrain our freedom to choose to do whatever we want to do, or be whatever we want to be, so long as we do not harm others. Their supreme value is autonomous choice. On the other hand, secularists tell us that human freedom does not exist. Why then should we invoke freedom to choose as a value if it is, according to science, an illusion? If hard determinism is true, there is no reason to honor liberty or create a free society. To the contrary, we should embrace Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, where children are conceived and hatched in laboratories and adults programmed to stay happy by a regime of drugs and pleasure. We should implement the scenario of Anthony Burgess's The Clockwork Orange, in which criminals are reformed by brain surgery or conditioning. If freedom does not exist, why be bothered by the addictive nature of computer games and social media? Why prefer genuine reality to virtual reality? It was Nietzsche who rightly observed that the greater our scientific achievements, the lower our view of the human person. No longer the image of God, we have become mere incarnated algorithms. The truth is that the more we understand about the human brain, the better we are able to describe what free action really is. At present, scientists distinguish between the amygdala, the most primitive part of the brain, conditioned to sensitize us to potential danger. The limbic system, sometimes called the social brain, which is responsible for much of our emotional life, and the prefrontal cortex, which is analytical and capable of dispassionately weighing the consequences of alternative choices. The tensions between these three form the arena within which personal freedom is won or lost. Patterns of behavior are shaped by neural pathways connecting different parts of the brain, but not all of them are good for us. So, for instance, we might turn to drugs or binge eating or thrill seeking to distract us from some of the unhappy chemicals, fears and anxieties, for instance, that are also part of the architecture of the brain. The more often we do so, the more myelin gets wrapped up around the pathways and the more rapid and instinctive the behavior. So the more often we behave in certain ways, the harder it is to break the habit and create a new and different pathway. To do so requires the acquisition of new habits acted on consistently for the extended period of time. Current scientific thinking suggests that a minimum of 66 days is needed to form a new habit. So now we have a scientific way of explaining the hardening taking place in Pharaoh's heart. Having established a pattern of response to the first 5 plagues, he would find it progressively more difficult at every level neuroscientifically, psychologically, and politically to change. The same is true of every bad habit and political decision. Almost all our structures, mental and social, tend to reinforce previous patterns of behavior, so our freedom diminishes every time we fail to exercise it. If so, then today's Pasha and contemporary science tell the same story, that freedom is not a given, nor is it an absolute. We have to work for it. We acquire it slowly, in stages, and we can lose it, as Pharaoh lost his, and as drug addicts, workaholics, people addicted to computer games lose theirs. In one of the most famous opening lines in all literature, Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote at the beginning of the social contract that man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. In fact, the opposite is true. Our early character is determined partly by DNA, the genetic heritage of our parents and theirs, partly by our home and upbringing, partly by our friends, partly by the surrounding culture. We are not born free. We have to work hard to achieve freedom. That takes rituals whose repeated performance creates new neural pathways and new rapid response behavior. It requires a certain calibrated distance from the surrounding culture. If we are not to be swept away by social fads and fashions that seem liberating now, but destructive in retrospect. It needs a mental mindset that pauses before any significant action and asks, should I do this? May I do this? What rules of conduct should I bring to bear? It involves an internalized narrative of identity so that we can ask any course of action, is this who I am and what I stand for? It is no accident that the elements listed in the previous paragraph are all prominent features of Judaism, which turns out to be an ongoing seminar in willpower and impulse control. Now that we are beginning to understand the plasticity of the brain, we know at least a little of the neuroscience that lies behind the ability to overcome bad habits and addictions. Keeping Shabbat, for example, has the power to liberate us and our children from smartphone addiction and all that goes with it. The religion whose first festival, Pesach, celebrates collective freedom, gives us, in its rituals, the skills we need for personal freedom. Freedom is less a gift of an achievement. Even a pharaoh, the most powerful man in the ancient world, could lose it. Even a nation of slaves could, with the help of God, acquire it. Never take freedom for granted. It needs 100 small acts of self-control daily, which is what halakha, Jewish law, is all about. Freedom is a muscle that needs to be exercised. Use it or lose it. That is a life-transforming idea. Now, in this book that I've been reading, I haven't finished it yet, but it's a very, very interesting and coincides with this. The name of the book is Storm in the Land of Rain by Sylvia Fodi. She's a granddaughter of a general in Latvia. No, wait a minute. So she's a granddaughter of Jonas Norika. She's raised in the United States. She says, I can assure you that today in a free country, it is possible to discover a horrible truth about your relative. To me, searching for the truth of what happened here in Lithuania during the Holocaust, no matter how painful, how embarrassing, how shameful, is patriotic. I dedicated this book to Lithuania out of love for this country. It is better to face the past and all its horror than to live a fairy tale version of what happened. If we don't face the truth, we can never hope to be authentic, and we might repeat the past. And she goes on, of course, nobody wants to admit that their relative was involved in killing Jews, so instead they typically go into denial. And I know, Jerry, that we're not ending on a bad tone. There is hope. What she's saying is that there is hope. There's hope for all of us. Okay? And that's Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jim. Now, Mark Gerschlach. He will lead you. Please rise as he leads us in Orlenu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'ton hakol l'tei gedula l'yoseh b'reishit shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam halkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu k'chol ha'olam v'anachnu korim Umishtachavim u'modim L'fnei Melech Malkei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim v'Yosef Haaretz U'masha Yikarov b'Shamayim Mima'al Ushtinatu Zot V'Garei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Enon Emet Malkeinu B'Teshulato Hakatu B'Torato V'Yadata Hayom V'Mashivota Elavam Lecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim B'Shamayim Mima'al Al haaretz mitachat Eino. Kakatu b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad, u'shemo echad. You may be seated. This week, the congregation lovingly remembers the yahrzeits of Sylvia Colton, Dr. Conrad Littner, Doris Waxman, Sally Cohen, Robert Dasheff, Samuel Siegel, Joseph Dansker, Craig Stephen Green, David Karras, Louis Babner, Samuel Feldman, Lillian Scharf, Mildred Mazonson, Justin Remus, Victor A. Traeger, Paul Wazotsky, Bertram Cohen, Florence Franklin, Harry L. Richer, Israel Simon, my beloved father Daniel Strauss, and Esther Yanko. Are there any other yahrzeits people need to remember? In loving memory of those who no longer walk the earth, we are grateful to God for the gift of their lives. May the faith that binds us to our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort as we invite those who mourn and those who are observing Yortzeit to praise God's name with the words of the Kaddish. Please rise if you're saying Kaddish or observing the Yortzeit. Yit Kadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yomad, Divra Kirute, V'yamlich Malkute, V'chaye Chon, Uv'yomei Chon, Uv'chaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agolah, V'zman Kariv, V'yamru Amen. Yahei Shmei Rabbah, Mivorach, Le'olam U'me'omaya. Yit Barach, V'yish Tabak, V'yit Vo'ar, V'yit Romam, V'yit Naseh, V'yit Adar, V'yit Alev, V'yit Alol, Shemei Dekudashah, B'rihu. Le'ela, Min Kol B'chata V'shirata. Mushbechata V'nechamata, Da'amiran V'yalma, V'yamru Amen. Yahei Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yamru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yamru Amen. Now again, it's my pleasure to call on our Men's Club President, Jim Norcross, who will do the announcements for tonight. I'm sure of that. I know that. We are not an island. It was a long time ago.
We are not an island. First of all, I'd like to thank Mark Rudin, Steve Ring, Joe Westerman, Neil Kaufman, Richard Strauss, everybody in the men's club for helping me in the past year.
Talk into the mic, Jim.
Okay. I'm very grateful to you gentlemen. So Saturday morning services are at 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning service, read Friday only. Yasher Koach to our men's club members for leading us in services. The next junior congregation will be held on tomorrow, Saturday, March 18th at 10:30 a.m. Evening minyan, Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. in person and virtual, by Zoom, right? That mean by Zoom? Huh? Yeah, okay. Person and virtual, Zoom. Sunday morning minyan will be at 9 a.m. in person and virtual, followed by breakfast and study. Join us on Mondays and Wednesdays for Zumba and fitness, Tuesdays for Israeli dancing. Sisterhood invites you to join us for an evening with Christina Kaminsky from Kane's Nursery on Wednesday, March 22, following Minyan. We will be exploring ways to enhance our spring plantings and care for our houseplants. Join us on Friday, March 24th, as Deborah Cardin, Executive Director of Action for Post-Soviet Jewry, will update us on the work that Action is doing to alleviate suffering in Ukraine. And on Friday, March 31st, Gail Schumann, Chief Executive Officer of Jewish Family and Children's Services, will update us on many programs JF and CS is doing to help those with unmet needs in the Boston area. Reservations for our first night Seder are due on March 30th. First night, yeah? Is that right? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it says here. Okay. No apologies, no apologies. First night Seder, March 30th. Save the date, Saturday evening, April 22nd. As we honor Loretta and Rich Band. Yay! Yay. Scholarships are available to our high school seniors. Contact the Temple office for scholarship information. Okay? And also, our sisterhood offers a scholarship for current college freshmen. Forms for the authorization of the sale of your chametz are available in the office. A special note thanking you on Facebook and YouTube for your very generous donations. As you can see, there is a lot in here. There is a lot happening at TNT. Information for all events can be found on our weekly e-blast. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Okay, so now we're going to do a little something different. Alan, come on up. Alan and I are going to do a duet. He's going to start, he'll do line one of, we're going to do Yigdal. Alan's going to do the first line and you join with Alan. I'll do we'll just alternate.
Okay, all right,
Okay?
okay.
Yigdal elim kai v'yishtabach nimtza v'enei el mitziuto.
Echad v'yein yochid ki yehudo ne'lam v'gam etzof li'achduto.
Ein lo demut haguf ve'eno guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato.
Kadman l'chol davar asher nivra rishon v'yein reshit l'reshito.
Hino adon olam b'chol notza yoreh gedulato malchuto.
Shefa nevuato netano el anse segulato v'tifarto.
Lo kam b'Yisrael k'Moshe od navi umabi et munato.
Torah emet natan v'yamoel al yad nevion eman beito.
Lo yachal Yisrael v'lo yamidato le'olamim zulato.
Sofer v'yodea sitarenu mabit l'sof davar b'kadmato.
Gomer ish chesed k'mifalo noten l'rasha ra kirishato.
Yishlach l'kei jamim mishichenu lifdom l'chaya kei yeshuato.
Metim Yehael berov chasto baruch adeyat shem tehilato.
Metim Yael berov chasto baruch adei shem tehilato. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you to the
Shabbat
of the Men's Club for a wonderful evening of participation in the service. Thank you. Join us in the back for the Oneg and a little L'chaim Tovim.
Shkoyach. Shkoyach.